You tell me. I don't know if this is a universal experience, but I would like to think it is. See, when I was younger, my parents would do certain things that I didn't understand. For example, when we were at a red light, they would be stopped, as they are legally required to do. But then when it would turn green, they would take kind of a while to get to the pedal. And I would always think when I was younger, so much ego, so much pride, that I could beat them. Like if we were having a contest about reflexes and reaction time, I was like I could smoke these old people. But then I got older and I realized, oh, they're doing it for a specific reason. You see, the reason they stop before they go on a green is because they're checking, making sure no other cars are running a red light, and they're actually saving my life. And so I understood that when I was older. But when I was younger, I didn't get it. I didn't ask because I didn't want to make them feel bad and be like, hey, you guys are really bad at this. I genuinely did. Every time they would stop, I'm like, I could be going right now. We're waiting like 2 seconds. What is this pregnant pause, huh? Are we expecting? Because at the rate you're going, it should take 9 months for you to go. What is going on here? I truly didn't think less of them, but I thought I was better than them. Another thing my parents would do, my mom, I noticed when we were younger, anytime we'd be watching something on TV, sometimes I would come into a room with some just terrible question, right? Like, hey, if you draw on yourself with pen, that comes out, right? I don't really have an interest in tattoos. I just want to take something for a test drive. You come in with something like that. Hey, the purple glue, that's not edible, but the white stuff is, right? The white glue. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't, just answer the question. It's fun. We're doing like a little thing. That's what I've never understood about adults. It's like hitting kids is bad. Oh my God, never hit a kid. That's the worst thing you could do. Go to jail if you do that, right? CPS, Child Protective Services, that's what it stands for. However, I don't understand how more parents aren't hitting their kids. Not that I'm saying they should, I just know what people are like. I've now been surrounded by adults, right? I'm 27 years old. I see adults, they don't know how to keep their cool. How are not more of them hitting kids? And the ones with kids right now are the ones that probably shouldn't be having kids. So it's like, you guys are probably going to hit them, right? I don't think they should. They shouldn't. Let me be clear, said the great Obama. Let me be clear that you should not have hit a kid. That's right. I am with the party of don't hit kids. Let them do anything they want. Well, not anything, right? If there's a old wealthy man, he's like, come to my island, don't let them do that. But if they are doing stuff, just kind of be healthy about it. They don't have good communication skills, these adults that are having kids right now. So they just, I would think, default to hitting them, which makes sense. But then you don't hear much about people hitting their kids. So you're like, is it happening? If a tree falls and no one heard it, did it happen? But sometimes when I was younger, I'd go into my mom's room and I'd be like, Mom, some bullshit. I have an assignment due tomorrow. It's a big project. We need supplies, right? But sometimes when I wasn't causing mischief, I would just be in there and we'd be talking about something, and she'd have typically like Harry Potter on the TV. There's always this one channel. I don't know what channel it is. It probably doesn't exist anymore. It's probably streaming under Peacock, but not the normal Peacock. Peacock Plus, which they call a P-Dick. That's crazy. What was this guy talking about? But Harry Potter was just on in the past, and she would always just have it on. But if you watch Harry Potter on reruns on TV, they would always insert commercials every, like 15 minutes or something. And every time it came on a commercial, she would mute the TV, and I had never understood it. I was like, what is this? Are we living like prudes, huh? Why are we not letting the TV express itself how it was made to? Which is crazy, because it's kind of like those people that are like, we should let nature be nature. No, if a bear comes into your house, let it. If you want to shoot it, you're a bad person. It's like, okay, well, first of all, why are bears coming in houses? Why is that a dialogue we're having? A conversation we're all being part of. But there are those people, right, where they're like, no, we should. Humans are actually, we're taking over wildlife, which we are. Have you seen some of these Walmart supercenters? It's not worth it, I think, right? Just so you can buy napkins for $4. We just killed a deer's home. Is that worth it? I don't think so. But this is how I feel whenever I was younger. I'd be like, what is she doing, huh? Why, this isn't natural. This is unnatural. This is bad. Why is she disrupting the flow of nature and life and the feng shui of the entire thing? But now I understand it. You see, this weekend I was watching the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game. It was kind of entertaining. It's been bad, like, for the past few years. It's still, I think, pretty bad, but it was kind of better this year. You don't care. You care less about what I'm saying right now than I do about the NBA All-Star game. But we're not that far off, you and I. But I noticed myself, and I've been doing this for the past like year or two. Anytime it would come on a commercial, I mute it. And I don't mute it and just, kind of exist with myself. I mute it and go on my phone. But I mute it because I'm like, I don't want that noise on in the background. It's too much. It's over, what is it called? Overstimulation. I don't need all that noise. And also with the NBA, I don't know if you watch the NBA, they play the same like fucking 6 commercials in every broadcast. So I don't want to hear about, oh, how great Wingstop is or how great, this insurance company is or probably some fucking AI company and how you can make your own art, right? Because that's interesting. People that don't already make their own art, they're not going to see AI and be like, actually, I am now a creative person. It's a fucking oxymoron. Emphasis on the moron in this case, because if you weren't creative, you're not going to do that, right? You're not going to get a tool and be like, actually, I am a very creative person. You can't be creative and use AI in that way. It's kind of like those people that they get into a hobby and then they buy like the most expensive equipment. The equipment's not the thing that's going to do it for them, right? If someone's like, I want to get into golf, and they buy, I don't know how much golf things are. It's a great example, Gauruv. But if they got into golf, they got like fucking $900 putter, they're going to give up that hobby in about 2 weeks. And that's how it feels like with people in AI art. If you were waiting for the $900 putter to get you into golf, you don't care about golf. And you're not going to be good at golf either. I think there's probably like a name for those people, right? In that community. I forgot what it's called. I feel like I've heard someone talk about this, where it's like that person that gets into a hobby and they buy the most expensive thing for the hobby. But last year when I watched the NBA playoffs, I did it then too. I would always mute the TV when the commercials were on because I'm like, this is just noise at this point. This isn't doing anything for me. Now, the problem is I treated it like a cigarette, right? People don't smoke cigarettes, so then they hit the vape. Well, I turn off the cigarette and then I hit the vape, which is my phone, and then I go on Twitter or something, which is not better. And actually, now that more research is being done, right, it's probably even worse to vape. And I'm sure we'll see the same thing happen with phones, but you've always heard that joke online. I replaced a big screen with a little screen, which is more healthy. Or no, it's the other way around. I replaced a small screen with a big screen, which is, healthy. Like, people feel guilty when they go on their phone, but then they go on their computer for 7 hours and they're like, this was productive. This was good. Because we use computers for work, and anything you use for work is good, right? But then why do you eat free bananas at the work cafeteria, but then go home and you don't see a fucking fruit anywhere to be found, right? Your home should be a jungle. There should be fruit everywhere, but no, it's a concrete jungle. Not a fruit in sight. Not a seed to drop. What are you doing? But just as my parents would wait before they go on a green light, and just as my mom would mute the TV when it was on commercials, I understand it now, and I do both of those things. Now, there is that Mark Twain quote, right, where it's like, when I was young, my parents knew everything, but then I grew up a little bit, and my parents, I don't know what happened. They became the stupidest people in the world. Nothing they did was right. But then I got even older, and now I realize they are actually really wise. That's propaganda. No, I don't believe that. Okay, I've heard some parents say that quote, and you're like, really, guy? You've heard that quote from parents? Yes. I don't know what it is. I don't know what circles I run in, but I've heard multiple parents lay out that quote, and I'm like, that's just propaganda for yourself. You're just trying to give yourself an out to why you don't have to show up to your son's piano recital. He's not gonna be close to you. He's gonna be distant when he goes to college. You're gonna be like, what's going on here? I don't get it. We were so close. I know my son so well. That's one thing I've been really exposed to as I've been an adult. A lot of parents love that line. Oh my God, they play it all the time. They play the hits, don't they? They put that little needle on the record player, and all you hear out of their mouth is, no, I know my kid. They would never do that. You know how many dads I've heard say, no, I know my kid. They would never do that. Have you been seeing that trend on TikTok where it's like, it's that fucking CIA agent, right? John Curacao, is that his name? But they always slow down his voice at certain parts. Yeah, they told me, where's the location of this guy? And then I told him the location, and they bombed him. And it's like, oh, but that's what I hear in my head anytime these parents talk to me about their kids. I'm like, yo, I'm close to your kids in age than I am to you, and I can tell you how badly you're fucking up right now. But they're not gonna hear it, and also we're at work, so I'm not gonna say it, because there's nothing. What are you talking about? The problem with it is, right, it's a real immovable object versus whatever unstoppable force. I don't fucking know what it is, but it's like, even if I give the advice, it's a lose-lose. That's what we'll call it, because even if I give the advice, they're not gonna take it, and then it's just gonna make me look bad. But then if I don't say anything, they're going to still act the same way they do, except now I just don't look bad. And that's what you have to do. That's modern day activism. You stay silent, don't say anything, and just hope that people, the goodness in people's hearts, will trump all. Yeah, no, people will know. You just have to leave them alone because people are generally good, so they'll do the right thing always. Yeah. Huh. Look at me. I'm even think I'm speaking out a little too much here. I think I need to shut up. This isn't enough. I don't need to be saying all this. I'm actually a hindrance to the progression of society. I apologize. Damn me. You know, I realized rarely do I want to suddenly scream. Like if you told me, hey, Gauruv, scream right now. Couldn't do it. I don't think I could scream on command. Yet, when I unsuspectedly have to sneeze, I will scream. That's another thing about being an adult. This is the adult episode, right? I've now gotten to the point where, yeah, I scream when I sneeze. I don't do it when I'm around other people, screaming or sneezing. I just think it's very gross. Yeah, I just don't want to, be a guy that thinks, those people in social situations where everything they say, they're like really working it through their filter and they're like, man, I hope I'm not a fucking idiot. I hope my friends don't hate me that I'm just hanging out with them. And then they're very like walking on eggshells, not sure what they should say. And everything they say, they hyperanalyze and they're like, this is going to be the last thing I ever say in this friend group. Being one of those people is like being a new hire at a company. Because a new hire is like, I'm an idiot, and anything I do is either okay or it's the worst thing I've ever done, and it's grounds for being fired. And that's how it feels to be one of those friends. In those friend groups, it's like, oh, if I am just likable and whatever, well, that's standard. I should be. But if I even say one thing out of line and, someone gives me a little look, I should kill myself. I don't think I deserve to not even exist in this friend group, but on this plane of existence with other great wonders of the world. It's like Walmart supercenters, right? But it's not like I'm just screaming in public, right? I'm not just going around, belching out and scaring people in public. And I think the same applies to my private life. I'm not just sitting alone at home and just screaming by myself. But I have noticed that whenever I sneeze, I'm now an adult, I will scream. It's not even like a scream, it's like a wind up. It's a, one of those. Which is a scream. See, I don't think I could just do that like I just did. But when I sneeze, when I have to sneeze, I can do, one of those. What is with that, huh? Why can't I just do that, right? Could be low energy, feeling a little sick. But now I got to sneeze and I'll just, all the energy go. It's just inefficient at best, right? People say, oh, humans, they're such a marvel. It's like, how did we become the way we are, right? How did, evolution take place? And all the things that our body can do, it's quite impressive. But then you sneeze and you're like, I don't think this is the best design thing. I don't think. What do you mean I have to scream every time I want to sneeze? That doesn't make any sense. Been making this breakfast burrito recently, and I really like it. I've been making it for like, I think 2-3 months straight, something like that. And I've been also pouring hot sauce on it. I like to pour Frank's Buffalo hot sauce. And recently, I've gotten to the bottom of a bottle of Frank's hot sauce. And as you know, it takes a little more of an angle to tip it over and let the sauce dribble out. Talking about hot sauce here, folks. Calm down. Yeah, sometimes I got to shake the bottle, to get the sauce out. Easy. Easy, gang. Let's calm down. I know it's rainy out and we're all cloistered away in our own living quarters, so we're tempted by the moisture of the outside and also the stir craziness of the indoors, 4 walls and all, but let's keep it in our pants, huh? But when I get to that bottom of that sauce bottle, you really got to tip it, and then you kind of lose control of how much is coming out because the velocity will increase. Probably something you learned in physics. Well, let's not say learned in physics. You were there when they were teaching it, and then you apparently took the test where you said that you knew what they were talking about, but you didn't even do well in that section. You failed that section. But you had enough buffer in the other sections that you passed, so it's fine. You didn't actually learn all physics, but there's a letter on a piece of paper that says you did. But I recently, was tipping this bottle and way too much sauce came out. It drowned my burrito. And I realized this is a great lesson about love bombing. Because people, if you don't understand, you can't conceptualize love bombing in your head. It's the idea that, if you pour too much love on, right? If you over compliment, if you kind of or going too hard, it's a turnoff because it doesn't seem authentic. It doesn't seem genuine. It's just very performative. That's what it feels like when you pour too much hot sauce in. It ruins the experience. See, the nice thing about compliments, the nice thing about flirting, is you do it sparingly. Now, you don't deprive someone of the thing, but you kind of sprinkle it in a fun way. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you're supposed to do with hot sauce. If you just sprinkle the right amount of hot sauce on a taco, by God, does it really enhance the experience. But you drown it, now you got a mouthful of vinegar. It doesn't taste very good. Now you got to get something else, a palate cleanser, they call it. And then that kind of washes out your mouth. Because if you pour too much hot sauce, you fuck the experience. And I think that's exactly how you can articulate what love bombing is. If you really pour too many compliments, at a certain point, it's like when you highlight everything. It's like, are you really complimenting me? Are these things really important? Or are you just kind of cover your base? You're just covering your bases. That's what pouring too much hot sauce in. It's really a lesson on love bombing, on flirting. Because flirting, oh my God, it can really add spice, right, to a relationship. But if you do it too much, it's obscene. It's kind of like what I talked about, I think, a few weeks ago, right? Where in order to be immature, you have to be mature. I think it's the same thing with flirting. If you just flirt outright and you're like, oh my God, let me see your cock. It's like, sorry? What? Right? But if you say, oh, is that a phone in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me? Right? That's funny. That's cute. Yeah, you know. Yeah, right? My guys, we really use that line and people love it. People love when we use that line. But no, that's just a shitty example of my greater point, which is that when you do these things, when you compliment people, when you flirt, you have to find a fine balance. And I think this speaks on a bigger issue, which I don't know, I think a lot of people and companies and things in life get wrong, which is this, what is it called? A fallacy that more equals better. It doesn't. Because I poured more hot sauce on my burrito and it fucked up the experience. That shit sucked. That was marginally worse now that I had poured more. If there was a graph, it'd be an inverse graph. You all took AP stats in high school, right? No, you couldn't take it because you failed physics. Oh, so you didn't even do good on the other sections. I am so sorry. Wow. Huh. No, it's cool. AP stats, it's quite easy. You're not even missing out. Don't even worry about it. Talking about advanced classes to your dumb friends, kind of like an experience that they didn't really miss out on. No, oh my God, you would have hated it. It's like watching a movie without your friends. That's what it feels like, taking an advanced class without your fucking stupid ass friends, because you're like, no, oh my God, you would have hated it. Plus, you don't even need to see it. You don't even need to take it because it's like not even, yeah, oh my God, no, that other thing is so much better for you. But I think that just, if you have never understood, well, I don't get it. Why am I complimenting this girl over and over instead of having a real conversation with her about her interests? I'm just treating her like an object that is beautiful instead of like getting to know her as a person. Hopefully this hot sauce example made it clear to you. I like, no I don't. I don't like anything. That's right. Don't ever say that, oh, I bet Gauruv likes this. I don't like anything in the world. But no, I've noticed that sometimes drive-thrus will give you part of your order before they take your card, which I've always found to be irresponsible. But then I started workshopping the idea in my head, playing it out. Well, what if I did drive off with these two things, right? Let's say I go to a coffee place. They give me a pound cake and a little, what's another thing you get at a place? I don't know. One of those little eggs, right? That they put in one of those plastic molds that definitely has been used thousands of times. So now there's microplastics in your little egg saucer that also was in a plastic wrapping that was on a truck that came from some other place. And that egg was made in a lab. But let's say you're getting one of those, right? They give you a little pound cake and a little saucer of egg, and you're still waiting on your coffee. But they give you those two food items before you present your card to them. You can drive off at that point. You just have the food free of charge. But then you have to deal with the ethical ramifications, right? Can you live with yourself? I remember, I forgot what this was. Someone recently was telling me, they were telling me you can make channels on social media where you just make like AI content where it's like it just runs on repeat. It's kind of like the current day version of, those people that used to make the 10-hour, 24-hour rain sound compilations so people could sleep to them or just have them on in the background. This person was trying to pitch this idea to me and just be like, hey, like content and social media stuff. You should use it. Use AI and like make certain tools and like courses online that would just give you passive income. And I was like, no, I know, but I'm good. And he's like, no, why not? I was like, I know I could do it, but that's not why I create things. I create things because I like creating them. It's not that I don't know how to do that, but I was like, I don't want to do that. And he was like, is it because it's AI? I'm like, okay, fucking smart fuck, if you want to get into it. Yeah, I do have like an ethical problem with that. I don't want to do that. It's taking advantage of stupid people. Like they would eat up that content, but that's not something that interests me. That's not something I want to, hang my hat on in life and be like, yeah, I did that. If I'm going to make something, put it out, it has to be like a real thing. But I just, kind of shrugged his idea. I was like, I hear you. I even told him, I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I was like, I don't think it's something I would ever do, but whatever. Anyways, I was in this drive-thru and I was like, I could drive off right now. But then I was like, I'm not going to drive off though, because I'm a good person. Well, this doesn't make me a good person. It just makes you not bad. It's kind of like how not murdering. It's kind of like how not murdering doesn't make you a good person. It just makes you not bad. You understand that? Like if you don't murder, you don't deserve props. It just means that you're not bad in that way. You might still be bad. I'm not saying murdering people is the only mark of a bad person, but it certainly, you could just do one of those, right? Sometimes in school, right, you got to take a bunch of courses to earn your degree. I'm saying to be a murderer, you don't even have to take that many courses. You just have to murder once, and then you're a murderer. There's this old joke where it's like, oh yeah, if a guy fucks a horse once, he's a horse fucker. But I bake a cake once, so you don't call me a baker, huh? So what's the deal with that? Anywho. But yeah, I thought about it. I was like, I could drive off here, but again, it's like the AI thing. I don't think I would feel good about myself. Like that little stupid pound cake in the egg saucer, I wouldn't even enjoy it because I'd be like, I stole this. It wouldn't even taste good. Like whatever, it already doesn't gonna taste good, but at least I would know that I paid for it. It would taste bad for a different reason. It would taste bad because I'd be like, how much did I pay for this? So there's this weird middle area, right? Where if you don't pay for shitty food, you feel bad because you're like, I stole food. But if you pay too much for shitty food, then you're like, why did I pay this much for shitty food? So there's that beautiful middle area. And that's where Little Caesars operates, where it's, it's like shitty food for the perfect price. I'm just kidding. I love Little Caesars. If anyone has anything bad to say about Little Caesars, I'm not going to say a goddamn thing. Because like I said, that's modern day activism. You're not supposed to say anything. God damn it. Those are the true warriors, I think. But when I was also in this drive-thru, the person told me I got food on a Saturday morning. And they were like, have a good weekend. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I like that they said have a good weekend because it's well wishes for like a longer period of time. I think most of the time, right, people say, have a good day. Have a great morning. It's very limited. But I like that they covered their bases. However, what's to say you and I aren't right back here tomorrow, okay? So I didn't like that aspect. I didn't like that now it makes it like an awkward goodbye. You ever say, oh, well, hey, see ya. And then you start walking in the same direction. Oh, where'd you park? Down there? Okay, wow. You know what might be shorter? If I just go lay in traffic. How about that? Huh? Awesome. Yeah, because it would be better than saying goodbye to you and then basically following you to your car. Because I don't think, right, the parking lot, it's maybe 15 steps away. It's too much time not to talk to each other, but it's too little time for us to strike up a new conversation. Life is what I'm learning in this episode is all about just the happy middle grounds, right? Can't have too little hot sauce, can't have too much. Can't have too much for shitty food, you can't have too little. You can't have too far of a distance, you can't have too little. Everything is about being perfect in life. So if you aren't perfect, that should eat away at you. You should never feel good about yourself, if you're not perfect. And I think that's the message we need to drive home more than ever these days. If you're not perfect, you're not worth anything in this world. But I like that they said, have a good weekend. Is this anything? I don't freak until froke to. I don't know why, but I wrote that down this week. I just want to see. Is that anything? No? Okay. I don't freak until froke to. It's a play on the phrase, I don't speak till spoke to. But I thought about, oh yeah, there's another word that sounds like speak, which is freak. So I was like, I don't freak till froke to, which is kind of poetic, right? It's like, why would you, some people, they don't really open up until other people open up to them. So I was like, oh, this has real life implications, right? This has real life application. I don't freak till froke to, right? It's all about reciprocating energy. Sometimes I'll see a TikTok. I don't like the TikTok, but I love all the comments. And when I say I don't like the TikTok, I do like it, but I don't want to press like because I'm like, I don't want to like physically co-sign what is happening in this video. And Gauruv, do you have a good example of that? Yeah, I do. I saw a video this week of a guy blending a completely cooked steak and adding it to brownies. And I was like, this sucks so much. I never want to physically support this. But all the top comments were so funny, and I liked basically all of them. But I would never like that video. I don't want the creator to understand what he did is good. It's kind of like when people make posts on social media, and they're like, my dog just died. I'm like, that's so sad, but I feel fucked for liking this, right? Because I don't like that your dog died. I'm trying to support you, but also that's a little easier because a like with a dead dog post, crazy we're talking about dead dogs 2 weeks in a row, right? But a like on that is kind of to show support for the person, whereas a like on a blended up steak video, I don't think that person deserves any support. Well, God, what if their dog died? Maybe good in that situation, because if they're blending steaks, I don't know what they were feeding that dog. Okay, so I think the dog dying was best for everyone in this scenario, honestly. Also, another one of my favorite genre TikToks, if you could call it that, is when a guy is just fucking up a dance, and not in a good way, just in a bad way. When I saw a guy, it was like, oh, day whatever 67 of learning how to Dougie, and he's just, and all the top comments are like, bro, he's fighting the Dougie, like the Dougie's doing rounds on this motherfucker. It's crazy. I don't even know what. It felt like he was like stuck in a box. You know how mimes are. But it looked like he was really trying to get out of it. It felt bad. And so I didn't want to like the video, but I liked all the top comments because I'm like, that's funny. But that being said, I would like you to like this video if you could. Is that cool? We really got a lot of likes on last episode. Thank you so much. I don't know if it's because it was a popular topic of conversation or because I pinned the comment on last video, which is that if this doesn't get more than 5 likes, I will never do this podcast again because it is heartbreaking. As much as you shouldn't, I look at the likes on these videos to like gauge, oh, are people liking this? Which is, that's exactly what it's for. But sometimes if a video doesn't get like at least 10 likes, I do take a second. Just know, anytime, these episodes don't get like 10 likes in the first couple days, I'm like, maybe I should stop. Maybe I should take the sign, see that people don't like it. This is literally what's happening. People are not liking it. So I'm like, maybe people don't like it. Maybe I should just stop. So thank you for liking last episode, but maybe it was just because it was a bunch of people coming in and admitting that they got no sauce. The sauceless self-reports of the Super Bowl is what Bad Bunny gave us. A bunch of people coming in and being like, I don't get it. I'm like, ooh, I don't think you understand what this is about you. But thank you so much for watching this. I know that anyone that listens to this podcast is the zenith of society, a real peak individual, if you ask me. So thank you so much. I think it says a lot about you if you listen to this podcast. Song recommendation, I really like Hypnotize by XG. So give that a listen if you want. But of course, before you listen to that, give a listen to these podcast episodes on YouTube, on Spotify. Make sure you leave your comments and your likes. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you next week. Okay?